Hello, my name is Antonio Capulera, and today I'd like to welcome you into a world of imagination. Today is not only about painting, it is about meaning. It is about spirit. It is about invisible things that art can awaken inside the human heart. On this canvas, we will travel through the world of the sunflower, a symbol of light, of faith, of joy, and of courage, to keep turning toward what is good in this world. But around that sunflower, as companions in today's journey, we also had beloved figures from the world of story and cinema. We have the enchanted energy inspired by two unforgettable women, characters made iconic through the presence of Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock in Practical Magic, symbols of mystery, sisterhood, resilience, and the idea that a little magic can still exist in this world. And off to the side, with humor, with heart, and his own unforgettable charm, we welcome Sloth from the Goonies. A reminder that goodness does not always arrive in the form of people and the way that they should look. Sometimes the most beautiful hearts come wrapped in misunderstood appearances. This is one of the gifts of art. Art lets very different worlds live together on one canvas. Light and shadow, beauty and humor, elegance and wildness, fantasy and truth, and softness and strength. A sunflower can stand beside movie legends, magic can stand beside innocence, and grace, it can stand beside mischief. And somehow, it all belongs. This is true about people too. Inside every person are many colors, many chapters, many sides of the self. The serious side, the playful side, the wounded side, and the brave side. The side still hoping, and the side still healing. We are not one-note beings. We are compositions. And perhaps that is why painting feels so natural to the soul. It mirrors what we already are. Layers, contrast, memories, longing, joy, mystery, and possibly all living together in one frame. So today, as I move through the browns and the oranges, yellows, the greens, and light, I want this to be more than a demonstration. I want it to be a story about growth, a story about turning toward the light, a story about how darkness can become depth, a story about how laughter can survive hardship, a story about how beauty often appears where no one expects it. And whether you came here because you love painting, because you love film, because you love sunflowers, or because you simply needed a peaceful place to rest your mind for a while, you are welcome here. Take a breath, settle in, and let the colors speak to you. And as this brush begins to move, remember this. No true masterpiece appears all at once. It arrives layer by layer. So does healing. So does wisdom. So does joy. So does life. Today begins not with the brightest colors, but with the deepest ones. And that is where many beautiful things begin. So we begin here, in the browns. Not yet golden petals, not yet in the brightest celebration, not yet in colors people instantly recognize as cheerful. We begin in the earth tones. And I love that, because life so often begins in places the world overlooks. The world is drawn to sparkle. It notices what shines quickly. It rushes toward what is loud, immediate, polished, and finished. But some of the most important things in existence do not begin that way. They begin quietly, slowly, privately even. A seed begins in darkness. Wisdom begins in questions. Strength begins in resistance. Faith often begins when uncertainty has gone missing. That is why these browns matter. They are not lesser colors, they are foundational colors. They are the colors of wood, earth, soil, tree, bark, and stone paths, old books, worn leather, autumn fields, and the places where time leaves its fingertips. They are colors that carry memory, and memory has a value. Sometimes in life we are tempted to dismiss, the early chapters because they were not glamorous. We want to skip the awkward beginnings, the lonely seasons, the years of confusion, the jobs no one admired, the moments when we are still figuring ourselves out. And those chapters often build the person who comes later to bloom. Nothing honest is wasted. That is one of the lessons hidden in the soil. Now, as I move these darker tones across the canvas, I think about roots. And roots are powerful because they do not need applause. They do not need pose. They do not advertise themselves. They do not demand recognition. They simply do their work. They reach downward so life can rise up. Imagine if more people understood that principle. The deepest work in a human being is often invisible. Learning patience, learning discipline, learning to forgive, learning to carry disappointment without becoming bitter, learning to stay kind in a world that can be harsh, learning to keep going when no one is cheering. Those are root systems. And when storms arrive, root systems reveal their worth. Anyone can look strong on a sunny day, but wind tells the truth. Pressure tells the truth. Loss tells the truth. And delay tells the truth. Storms do not only test us, sometimes they introduce us to what is already inside of us. That is why some people surprise themselves after a hardship. They discover endurance they did not know they possessed. They discover tenderness that survived pain. They discover courage hiding beneath fear. The brown chapter of life can feel humble, but it is often holy. It is the season where invisible things are being prepared. And maybe someone listening today needs to hear that. Maybe your life feels slower than you'd hoped for. Maybe you thought you would be further along by now. Maybe you compared your unfinished chapter to someone else's highlighted reel. Maybe you feel buried underneath responsibility, grief, doubt, or delay. But buried is not always buried. Sometimes buried means planted. There's a difference. A stone buried in the ground remains a stone. A seed buried in the ground can become a field of sunflowers. So never judge your season too early. Nature does not panic in winter. A tree does not accuse itself when its leaves fall. A river does not apologize for taking the long route. And the flower does not bloom on command just because the world is impatient. There is wisdom in timing. Now, as these browns deepen, I think about this chapter. Chapter is like the underlayers of paint. It may not be the first thing people notice, but everything beautiful rests on it. Talent without character becomes unstable. Charm without character becomes manipulation. Success without character becomes emptiness. And recognition without character can become vanity. But when character is strong, even ordinary moments carry dignity. A person who keeps their word, a person who treats strangers with respect, a person who does the right thing privately, a person who can be trusted when nobody is watching, those are masterpieces too. Not every masterpiece hangs on a wall. Some walk through the world unnoticed, making life better wherever they go. That is another reason I enjoy the earth tones. They remind me that not all greatness is flashy. Some greatness is steady. Some greatness is a mother who never gave up. Some greatness is a worker who showed up and he's tired and he still did his best job. Some greatness is the person who survived heartbreak and remained loving. Some greatness is the one who was misunderstood and still chose gentleness. Quiet greatness matters. Now, somewhere around this canvas live our other companions today. A little magic, a little mischief, a little heart. The mysterious spirit of practical magic and the unforgettable sweetness of sloth. Even they belong here because life itself is not made of one mood. It contains elegance and awkwardness, grace and comedy, mystery and sincerity, beauty and surprise. The wise soul learns to make room for all of it. And that is what an artist does. An artist knows that contrast creates interest. Unexpected combinations create wonder. What seems strange at first can become unforgettable in the final composition. How true that is of people. Some of the people who changed the world did not fit neatly into expectations. They were too unusual, too early or too bold, too soft or too different or too imaginative, to themselves. And yet, those very qualities became their gift. So if you have ever felt different, take heart. Difference is not always a flaw. Sometimes it's the signature. And now the warmth begins to rise. We have spent time in the browns, in the soil, in the roots, the hidden places where strength is formed. But no season remains the same forever. There comes a moment when what was building beneath the surface becomes to show life of its own. That is where the oranges arrive. Orange is movement. Orange is energy. Orange is the first glow before the full daylight. Orange is the umber that refuses to die. I have always loved this part of the painting because it feels like awakening. The dark tones gave us depth, but the warmer tones gave us pulse. They bring heartbeat to the image. They remind the eye that life is stirring. And many people know this feeling in their own lives. There are seasons when you are simply surviving, holding on, doing what you must do, quietly enduring. Then one day, without a trumpet or an announcement, something shifts. You laugh a little easier. You feel a little stronger. You imagine the future again. You begin to care again. You begin to create again. And that subtlety, it matters. Never underestimate the sacredness of small renewals. The world tends to celebrate dramatic transformations, grand victories, overnight success, sudden breakthroughs. But often the most meaningful changes happen quietly. A person decides to try again. A heart opens after disappointment. Someone chooses hope after a long season of heaviness. An artist returns to the canvas. A dreamer begins once more. These are orange movements. Now, as I layer these warm tones into the sunflower, I think about courage. Courage is often misunderstood. Many people imagine courage as fearless, but courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement in the spite of fear. The hand still trembles, but it reaches. The voice still shakes, but it speaks. The heart still remembers pain, but loves again. The artist still doubts, but paints anyway. That is courage. And courage deserves more respect than perfection ever will. Perfection is often a performance. Courage is real. There are people all around us doing courageous things every day with no headlines attached. Going to work while carrying a grief. Showing kindness while privately struggling. Starting over in midlife. Caring for others while tired. Admitting fault. Changing direction. Trying again after an embarrassment. These acts may seem ordinary, but they are not ordinary at all. They are heroic in a human scale. Now the oranges mingle with the browns and notice something beautiful. They do not erase what came before, they build upon it. That is how healing works too. You do not always erase the past, you integrate it. You learn from it. You place warmth beside memory. You place wisdom beside pain. You place new life besides old chapters. The result is richer than pretending nothing ever happened. A painting with only one note feels flat. A life with only one easy chapter would never develop depth. So do not be ashamed of your earlier seasons. They may be the very reason your light has substance now. Orange feels like personality to me. It carries spirit. It carries charm. It carries a little spark that says life can still be playful. And somewhere around this canvas today are hints of that playful spirit, those beloved cinematic companions, a touch of mystery from practical magic, a touch of lovable wildness from sloth. They remind us that warmth is not only serious, warmth can laugh. Warmth can dance. Warmth can surprise. Not every lesson must arrive in solemn silence. Sometimes wisdom arrives smiling. Sometimes healing arrives through humor. Sometimes the thing that lifts your heart is not a lecture, but a song, a memory, a character from childhood, a scene from a film that made you believe in wonder again. Never dismiss what brings wholesome joy. Joy is not trivial. Joy is fuel. People can survive a long day on duty, but they can come alive through meaning, beauty, affection, laughter, and hope. And that is why artists matter. Artists remind the world to feel. They take color and turn it into atmosphere. They take symbols and turn them into memory. They take silence and turn them into experience. And often they do this without fully realizing how many hearts they are helping. If you are an artist watching this, remember your work may be medicine for someone you never met. The song you almost didn't write, the painting you almost threw away, the story you almost kept yourself, the kindness you almost withheld. Any of these can become light in another person's day. Now the oranges grow brighter, and I think of sunrise. There is something deeply hopeful about sunrise because it happens daily. No matter how dark the night was, the world itself seems to whisper again. So night has never stopped the morning permanently, has it? What a message that is, isn't it? No disappointment is final unless we surrender to it. No setback defines the whole story. No winter lasts forever. There is a rhythm in life. Darkness and dawn. Rest and action. Silence and song. Soil and bloom. Trust the rhythm. Many people suffer because they believe one season is the whole story. They think because life is difficult now, it will always be difficult. Because the path is unclear now, it will always be unclear. Because they feel tired now. Joy left forever. But seasons change. The same branch that looked lifeless in winter can overflow in the spring. The same heart that felt heavy can become radiant again. The same hands that nearly gave up can build something beautiful. Now, as I continue with these oranges, I also think about gratitude. Warmth is easier to recognize when you have known cold. A peaceful day means more after chaos, doesn't it? A loyal friend means more after betrayal. Health means more after sickness. Laughter means more after sorrow, doesn't it? Sometimes suffering does not only wound us, it sharpens our ability to appreciate what is good. And appreciation is a form of wealth no market can sell. The grateful person can find gold in ordinary hours. A meal shared, a breeze through the window, a dog resting nearby, music in the evening, paint on a brush, another chance. These things become treasures when the heart is awake enough to notice them. Now the canvas is changing. What was once all foundation is beginning to now glow. And that is worth remembering in your own life, isn't it? You may not feel finished. You may still be in process. You may still have unanswered questions. But perhaps even now, you are glowing more than you realize. Perhaps the warmth has already begun inside of you. Perhaps your return is already underway. So welcome the orange chapter. Let courage wake you. Let playfulness return. Let gratitude breathe. Let your spirit move again. Because after warmth comes radiance, and the brightest petals are often still ahead. And one more thing about orange, it is the color of invitation. It does not stand distant or cold. It reaches outward. It says, come closer, life is still happening here. There are people whose presence carries that same warmth. They make rooms feel lighter. Burdens feel smaller, and ordinary moments feel memorable. And you need to be that kind of color in the lives of others when you can. You do not need to be a perfect human being to brighten a day. Sometimes a smile, a kind word, a little humor, or simply showing up with a good heart can become the sunrise someone else needed. And another truth is, it's also the color of brave joy. Not the shallow kind of happiness that depends on everything going right, but the deeper joy that chooses to live fully after a life that has been difficult. That kind of joy has scars. It has memory. It knows disappointment, yet it still opens the curtains in the morning. It still laughs when laughter returns. It still dances when the music comes on. It still believes there's goodness worth noticing. That is a beautiful kind of strength. So if it visits you, welcome it without any guilt. You have not betrayed your struggles by smiling a little, have you? You have simply proven that the light can still reach you. Orange also reminds me that the energy must be directed. Fire can warm a home, but burn it down depending on how it's guided. Passion can build art, heal relationships, inspire movements, and lift communities, but unmanaged passion can become a noise. So when your spirit comes alive, give it purpose. Put it in your craft. Put it into kindness. Put it into discipline. Put it into service. Let your fire become useful, and it will become beautiful, I promise. And now we enter a gentler light. Not yet the brightest gold, not yet the full brilliance of noon, but something tender, something rising, something quietly becoming. That is what I call the golden dawn. These softer yellows carry a special feeling in a painting. They are the colors of early arrival, the colors of first light touching the horizon, the colors of promise before a proclamation. They do not shout for attention, yet they change everything they touch. I love this stage because it reminds me that not all transformations are dramatic. Some change enters softly, a new thought, a calmer heart, a wiser perspective, a little more patience than you had last year, a little more peace than you had last month, a little more faith than you had yesterday. These things may seem small, but small shifts can redirect an entire life. Many people overlook gentle progress because it does not come with fireworks. But dawn has never needed fireworks to defeat the night. It simply arrives, steadily, faithfully, and darkness makes room for it. What a lesson is that? You do not always need to conquer life in one grand moment. Sometimes all that is required is a little more light today than yesterday. A little more honesty, a little more discipline, a little more compassion even a little more courage. That is how souls brighten. Now, as these tones move into the petals, I think about becoming. There is a beautiful stage in every life where you are no longer who you once were, but yet not who you will fully become yet. That in-between place can feel uncertain, but it is sacred ground. It is where old limits loosen and new identity begins to form. Do not despise these in-between. The bud is not ashamed as it is not opened yet. The morning is not embarrassed, it is not noon. The apprentice is not a failure because they are still learning. Everything alive has stages. And perhaps one of the greatest acts of maturity is learning to honor your current stage without rushing it. Now, the canvas carries more warmth, more softness, more invitation. The flower is speaking more clearly, yet it still holds mystery. That is too beautiful. Not everything needs to be finished to be meaningful. Not everything needs to be complete to be lovely. There are people watching this right now who may feel unfinished. Good. Stay encouraged. Some of the most radiant chapters of your life may still be unfolding right now. The Golden Dawn teaches us this. Emergence is beautiful too. And let us stay here for a little longer on this gentle gold, because some moments deserve more time, don't they? There are more colors that announce themselves immediately. Then there are colors that reveal their beauty slowly. These softer yellows belong to the second kind. They ask you to look with patience. They ask you to notice nuance. They ask you to appreciate the quiet miracle of gradual change. That is a rare wisdom in a fast world. We live in a time that often rewards speed. Faster answers, faster success, faster attention, faster results. But many of the finest things in life cannot be rushed without losing essence. Trust takes time. Craft takes time. Healing takes time. Depth takes time. Love takes time. Even sunlight changes the day by degrees. Morning does not become noon in a single leap. It unfolds minute by minute, warming the earth so it can gently, and people can barely notice the transformation while it's happening. Yet by midday, everything is different here in Florida. So it can be also in a human life. A person who chooses one better habit, one honest step, one act of forgiveness, one disciplined hour, one brave conversation may not feel transformed that same day. But give those small acts time, and the landscape of life can change completely. Never underestimate what consistency can do. Greatness is often less dramatic than people think. It is not always one giant moment. Often it is many small faithful moments stacked together until they become something undeniable. Now, as I continue these golden tones, I think about gentleness. Gentleness is something mistaken for weakness, but true gentleness requires strength. It takes strength to remain kind in a cynical world. It takes strength to stay soft without becoming naive. It takes strength to speak with grace when anger would be easier. The strongest sunlight does not scream. It simply shines. That is power with peace. And there are people like that. Their presence calms rooms. Their words do not need to wound to be effective. Their confidence does not need arrogance. Their wisdom does not need performance. They carry light naturally. Becoming that kind of person is a worthy goal. Now the flower continues to emerge, and I'm reminded that beauty often appears in layers. Layers that we almost skip past. If we hurry too much, we miss the subtle transitions that make the final image believable. The same is true in relationships and in personal growth, in art and in faith. The small conversations matter, you know. The unnoticed efforts matter. The quiet prayers matter. The repeated practice matters. The ordinary days matter. Not every meaningful thing feels dramatic while it's happening. Some of the greatest blessings in your life may arrive disguised as ordinary afternoons. A conversation that changes you, a friendship that steadies you, a hobby that heals you, a morning when your heart feels lighter for no obvious reason. These moments can seem small, but they are threads in the tapestry. Now this golden dawn is spreading wilder across the petals. The flower is gaining voice. It's not yet at its brightest, but it's undeniably alive. Maybe that is where many people are right now. Not finished, not fully bloomed, not at the final chapter, but undeniably alive, undeniably growing, undeniably on the way. And that is enough for today. You do not need to be complete to have value. You do not need to be perfect to be worthy. You do not need to have all the answers to keep moving forward. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is continue becoming. So if your life feels early, honor it. If your dreams feel young, protect them. If your healing feels slow, trust it. If your path feels quiet, walk it anyway. Because dawn has promise hidden inside of it. The brightest hours may still be ahead. And now we arrive at the brighter yellows. This is the moment many people wait for. The richer glow, the fuller brilliance, the petals beginning to sing with light. What was once only hinted at softer tones now steps forward with confidence. This is the radiant gold. There is something joyful about bright yellows that need no translation. A child understands it. A traveler understands it. A tired heart understands it. It carries the language of warmth, vitality, optimism, and life made visible. Some colors asks to be studied. Bright yellow simply lifts the room, and that is a gift. Never underestimate the power of what uplifts. In a world where many carry hidden burdens, brightness is not superficial, it can be merciful. A kind face, a hopeful word, a beautiful song, a burst of laughter, a field of sunflowers. Sometimes these things become medicine that people did not know they needed. Now, as I place these brighter tones into the sunflower, I think about joy. Joy is deeper than amusement. It is not merely entertainment or temporary pleasure. Joy is a kind of inner sunlight. It can exist even in serious lives. It can visit people who have known sorrow. It can return after long winters. Real joy is not ignorance of pain. It's victory over pain's claim to own the whole story, isn't it? There are people who smile not because life was easy, but because they learned life is still precious. There are people who laugh with tears still somewhere in their history. There are people who carry scars and still bring warmth to others. That is a radiant strength. Now the flower grows bolder, and with that boldness comes another lesson. Do not apologize for your light. Many people dim themselves to make others comfortable, don't they? They hide their gifts, they mute their enthusiasm, silence their voice, downplay their kindness, or shrink their dreams because they fear judgment. But a sunflower does not ask permission to bloom. It simply follows its nature. You do not need arrogance. You do not need vanity. You do not need to stand above anyone. But you do have the right to fully become who you were meant to be, don't you? Let your talent breathe. Let your heart speak. Let your creativity move. Let your presence brighten the places you enter. There is a difference between ego and radiance. Ego says, look at me. Radiance says, let there be light. One seeks attention, doesn't it? The other gives energy. That distinction matters. Now, this bright yellow also reminds me of generosity. The sunflower does not bloom only for itself, it adds beauty to the field. It feeds bees. It carries seeds. It contributes to life around it. What a model that is. The best kind of success does not end with self. It becomes nourishment for others. Wisdom shared, resources shared, encouragement shared, opportunities shared, love shared. The brightness lives often where most generous ones are. Light is not one personality type. Some people shine quietly. Some shine boldly. Some shine through service. Some shine through creativity. Some through humor. Some through steadfast love. There are many ways to be luminous. Now, as the radiant gold expands, I think about gratitude again. It is easier to recognize brightness after seasons of shadow. The person who has walked through difficulty often notices blessings others overlooked. A peaceful morning, a healthy body, a second chance, a sincere friend, the freedom to create, the chance to begin again. These are treasures, and gratitude does something remarkable. It multiplies joy. It returns enough into abundance. It turns ordinary moments into sacred ones. Now the sunflower is standing taller on the canvas. It is moving from the root to warmth to dawn and now into open brilliance. Remember this for your own life. Growth is allowed to become visible. There are seasons for preparation. There are seasons for healing. There are seasons for quiet becoming. And there are also seasons to shine. And when your season comes, do not hide from it. Stand with it, with humility. Use it with kindness. Carry it with grace, because light is never diminished by being shared. It only travels farther. And now we begin the final movements, not with grand gestures, but with gentle touches. A little yellow here, soft adjustment there, a quiet brightening on the edge of a petal. Nothing dramatic, nothing forced, just small refinements that slowly wake the painting up. And there is wisdom in that. Many beautiful things in life do not arrive through one giant movement. They arrive through little corrections, little efforts, little choices repeated with care. A person becomes healthier with one habit at a time. Trust is rebuilt with one honest action at a time. Skill is developed and practiced one session at a time. Peace is often found one calmer thought at a time. We sometimes wait for lightning bolts when life is often just lanterns. A small change can begin to have great transformation. Now, as I lightly touch these yellows, I'm reminded that brightness often enters softly. Dawn does not crash through the sky, it rises. A flower does not implode into bloom, it opens. Healing does not always announce itself. Sometimes it is simply the first day you feel lighter than you did before. Respect the subtle victories. The day you got out of bed when it was hard, the day you tried, the day you forgave a little more, the day you created instead of doubting, the day you smiled and you meant it. These moments matter. Now, as I'm moving carefully, because the final stage of anything often requires attention more than force, the early stages may ask for boldness, but the finishing stages ask for awareness. You begin to notice what needs just a little touch more of warmth, what needs a little balance, what needs a little more patience, what already works and should be left alone. That's maturity. Not everything changes, but knowing what truly needs to change does. Some people think growth means becoming someone else. Often it means becoming more fully yourself, and with a little more wisdom, a little more grace, and a little more courage than before. So if your progress feels small today, do not dismiss it. The smallest highlight can make a petal glow. The smallest kindness can change a mood. The smallest hope can restart a heart. And now with these first touches of yellow, we continue gently, faithfully, and letting the picture become what it is always meant to be. And as we continue with these light touches, notice how patience has become part of the art itself. There is no need to rush now. The foundation is already there, the form already exists. What remains is refinement, the careful honoring of the details. That is true in life itself. There comes a season when you are no longer trying to prove that you exist. You are no longer trying to become everything overnight. You begin to understand that depth is built, and wisdom now is the finishing touch. A calmer reaction, a kinder tone, a healthier boundary, a wiser decision, a more grateful heart. These are the finishing touches of the soul. Now the yellow grows brighter and in small places, and that reminds me that light often works by emphasis. It does not need to cover everything all at once. It touches one area, then another, until the whole picture feels transformed. Maybe life can work that way for us too. You do not have to solve every problem today. You do not have to heal every wound today. You do not have to know the whole future today. Just brighten one corner. Take one step. Do one honest thing. Encourage one person. Finish one task. Protect one good habit. And that is enough for now. And enough, repeated faithfully, becomes abundance. Now I continue moving gently from petal to petal, and there is something joyful in this stage. The pressure is gone, the fear is gone. What remains is relationship between the hand and the brush and the movement. And that is where people long to live, not trapped in constant urgency, but present enough to enjoy what is in front of them. Presence is a gift. When you are truly present, food tastes better, doesn't it? Music sounds richer. Conversations go deeper. Beauty becomes visible. Even ordinary afternoons begin to shine. How much life have we missed by rushing through that? So let this moment be a reminder to slow down enough to notice your own blessings. Notice the people who love you. Notice the progress you have made. Notice the strength you've carried now and you did not carry it years ago. Notice the simple grace of being here at all times. Now the petals are beginning to glow with new life, and soon we will move again. From the light of the flower to the strength of the center, from the center to the green leaves, from the leaves to the final sparks of brightness. Every connected, every conversation, every becoming is part of one story. Green is the color of renewal. It reminds us that no matter how many seasons have passed, new growth remains possible. A difficult year does not cancel a beautiful future. A setback does not erase potential. A tired heart can feel fresh again. Life has a remarkable way of returning where hope has given room. There is also humility in the green. The leaves do not compete with the petals. They support them. They strengthen the whole picture by doing their part well. That is wisdom for people too. Not every important role is center stage. Some of the greatest contributions happen quietly through loyalty, through service, consistency, and care. And as these greens settle into the painting, let me remind you of this. Your story does not end in one bloom. There can be new chapters, new skills, new friendships, new peace, new purpose. As long as something in your life is alive, growth is still possible. So keep reaching, keep renewing, and keep becoming. Green also speaks of healing. After storms, fields can return, can't they? After winter, branches can bud again. After heartbreak, trust can slowly reappear. Human beings are more resilient than sometimes realized. What feels damaged today may, with time and care, become strong in a new way. Healing does not always restore the old form. It often creates a wiser form. And there is a joy in that. You do not always have to go backward to be whole. You grow forward. So as these leaves and stems and all of them come alive on this canvas, let them remind you to honor your steady progress. Honor what supports you. Honor what keeps you rooted. Honor the quiet strength in yourself that may not get applause all the time, but have carried you farther than you know. Sometimes the green chapters of life are where lasting strength is built. And one more truth about green is that it's the color of balance. A flower needs sunlight, yeah, but it also needs grounding, doesn't it? It needs roots often below where it reaches above. In life, ambition is beautiful, and so is balance. Dreams matter, but so does rest. Progress matters, and so does peace. Achievements matter, and so does relationships. The wisest growth does not sacrifice everything to rise. It learns how to rise while staying rooted. Green reminds us to breathe, to step outside, to reconnect with what is natural and real. Sometimes the mind becomes crowded with noise, pressure, comparison, and endless urgency. But a walk under the trees, a quiet afternoon, a moment of gratitude or time spent creating can restore something essential inside of us. Nature has a way of returning people to themselves. And as I add these final touches of browns and greens and golds, I think about hope in its most practical form. Hope is not always a grand speech or a dramatic feeling. Often hope looks like watering the garden today, showing up today, practicing today, choosing kindness today, taking the next steps today. That kind of hope grows roots, and roots hold more than fear ever could. And green also carries with it the spirit of generosity in nature. Leaves gather light and turn it into nourishment. They receive and then they give. That is a beautiful pattern for human life, isn't it? We all need moments of receiving, learning, resting, healing, being encouraged, but what we receive becomes most meaningful when it flows outward through kindness, wisdom, creativity, and service to others. There are seasons when you'll be the one strengthened, and there are seasons when you'll become the strength for someone else. Both seasons have value. The person who listened to you may one day need your listening. The person you inspired may be awakened through part of you that now inspires others. Goodness has a way of traveling from heart to heart. Green also reminds me that growth is rarely loud. You do not hear leaves unfold. You do not hear roots deepen. You do not hear the dawn warming the fields, yet transformation is happening all the time. So if your progress feels quiet, do not mistake quiet for absence. Some of the most powerful changes in your life may be taking place in the silence. Keep watering what matters to you. Keep protecting what is healthy. Keep feeding what is true. And keep removing what drains life from you. And in time, what is nurtured well will begin to flourish. And one final reflection on green is that it's the color of resilience. Bend does not mean break. A stem can move with the wind and still remain rooted. There is a wisdom in that kind of flexibility, isn't there? Some people suffer not because they are weak, but because they believe strength means becoming rigid. Yet many of the strongest things in nature know how to adapt. When plans change, adapt. When seasons shift, adapt. When life asks for patience, adapt. And when a new door opens, have the courage to walk through it. Resilience is not losing yourself. It is carrying your core with new conditions. Green also speaks of stewardship. Whatever is alive must be cared for. Your mind needs the care. Your body needs the care. Your relationships need care. Your gifts need care. Neglected gardens do not stay gardens for long, do they? But what is tended with consistency becomes beautiful beyond expectation. So tend to your life with love. Guard your peace. Feed your purpose. Strengthen your good habits. Speak kindly to yourself as you grow. And now we come to one of my favorite moments in the entire painting, the highlights. They are the brightest yellows, the touches of light that rest on the petals like sunlight passing over them. There's a little here, a little there, and suddenly the whole flower becomes like it's breathing in a new way. That is the magic of highlights. They do not replace the foundation. They do not erase the deeper tones. They do not compete with what came before it. They reveal it. With one careful stroke, the petal that was already beautiful becomes radiant. A shape that was already formed becomes alive with dimension. A flower that already existed on the canvas becomes to glow as if morning has found it. There is wisdom in that. Many of the greatest moments in life are not always giant changes. Sometimes they are highlights, small touches of grace that make everything feel different. A kind word at the right time. A phone call when you needed encouragement. A song that found you on the right day. A sudden laugh after a heavy week. An idea that rekindled your purpose. A peaceful morning after restless nights. Little lights. Big effect. Never underestimate what a small light can do. One candle can guide a room. One smile can soften tension. One act of courage can inspire many others. One honest decision can redirect a future. The world often chases massive moments, but much of life is transformed through humble ones. Now, as I place these bright touches across the petals, I think about awareness. Highlights require attention. You have to see where the light would naturally fall. You have to notice the shape, the angle, the movement, the rhythm of the flower itself. That teaches something important. Not every place needs the same touch. Some areas need much more warmth. Some need restraint. Some need patience. Some are already complete and should be left alone. That is the wisdom in relationships as well. The wisdom in leadership. The wisdom in growth. The wisdom in art. Not treating everything the same, but responding to what is truly needed. Now the petals begin to shimmer, and I'm reminded that many people are the same way. There are qualities in you that may have been there all along, simply waiting for light to reach them. Strength, waiting to be recognized. Creativity, waiting to be expressed. Tenderness, waiting to be trusted. Confidence, waiting to be practiced. Joy, waiting to be welcomed back. Sometimes people do not need to become something entirely new. Sometimes they just need illumination. They need the right environment, the right encouragement, the right moment, the right belief. And suddenly what was hidden begins to shine. Now these highlights also bring wonder to the painting. There is something childlike and joyful about seeing a flat surface suddenly look alive. It reminds us that creation still has the power to surprise. We should protect that sense of wonder, shouldn't we? The world can make people cynical if they are not careful. Routine and all of those things can dull your gratitude. Disappointment can make people guarded. But wonder keeps the heart open. Wonder says there's still beauty to notice. There's still mystery in the ordinary. There's still joy available today. A sunrise can still amaze you. Rain on a window can still comfort you. Music can still move you. And color can still lift you. A flower can still teach you. That is a rich way to live, isn't it? Now, as these brightest yellows continue, I think about encouragement. Some people are highlights in the lives of others. Their presence adds warmth. Their words adds confidence. Their laughter adds to the ease. Their belief helps someone else see their own potential. And be that kind of person when you can. You do not need fame to brighten a room. You do not need wealth to encourage someone. You do not need perfection to make a difference. Sometimes all that is required is sincerity and heart. Now the flower stands brighter than before, but notice this. The highlights matter because of everything beneath them. Without the browns, without the warmth, without the golden dawn and the radiant gold, these final lights would have nowhere to land. That is true in life as well. Your joy may shine because of what you survived. Your wisdom may shine because of what you learned. Your peace may shine because of battle once fought within. Your compassion may shine because you know pain personally. Depth gives light somewhere to live. So honor every chapter. The roots mattered. The struggle mattered. The patience mattered. The becoming mattered. And the courage. It mattered. And now the brightness matters too. Let this be a reminder to every soul watching. Your life does not need to be perfect to shine. Your story does not need to be finished to carry beauty. Your heart does not need to be without scars to bring warmth to the world. Sometimes the most moving light comes through the lives that have known the shadows. And that is why we celebrate the highlights, isn't it? Not because they deny the journey, but because they honor it. So let the light fall where it may. Let your gifts awaken. Let wonder return. Let encouragement flow through you. Let your spirit brighten whatever it touches. Because even the smallest ray of sunlight can make the whole field grow, can't it? Sometimes highlights arrive as brightness and brilliance, but sometimes it arrives as clarity. A person suddenly understands what matters most. The noise falls away. The comparisons fade. The heart remembers what is real, and that is sunlight too. There are moments when your life becomes simpler in the best way. You realize peace is more valuable than proving your point. You realize health is wealth. You realize time and good people are precious. You realize creating something honest can mean more than impressing strangers. Wisdom often feels like light because it helps us see correctly. Now, as these bright colors touch and continue across the petals, I think about confidence born from experience. Early confidence can be loud because it's trying to convince itself. Mature confidence is calmer. It has way less to prove. It's known the storms and they've come and passed. It knows mistakes and what it can survive. It knows growth is possible. And that kind of confidence shines without needing a strut. And there's beauty in that, isn't there? Some of the brightest people in the world are not the ones demanding attention. They are the ones bringing steadiness, encouragement, humor, and grace wherever they go. That makes others feel seen. They make difficult things feel possible. They carry warmth naturally. Becoming that kind of a light is a worthy ambition. And now the petals grow more alive with every touch, and that reminds me that joy also grows through expression. The more you share kindness, the more it multiplies. The more you practice gratitude, the more reasons you notice to be grateful. The more you create, the more creativity seems to visit you. Light likes movement, so if something beautiful lives inside of you, let it move. Write a song. Paint a picture. Start the idea or make the call. Say the loving thing. Take the walk and begin again. Many people are waiting for perfect conditions, while life is waiting for participation. And now, with these final rays across the flower, let the truth remain. You do not need to own the sun to reflect it. Even a single petal can catch enough light to become unforgettable. And let that sink in for a moment. Even a single petal can catch enough light to become unforgettable. You do not have to do everything to matter. You do not have to be everything to everyone. You do not have to carry the whole world to bring beauty into it. Sometimes your assignment is simply to shine where you are. Be faithful in your place. Be kind in your circle. Be creative with what's in your hands. Be generous with what you have learned. Be present with the people in front of you. That kind of living creates more light than people realize. Now, as these highlights continue, I think about timing. Light moves across the flower differently in the morning than it does at noon. It changes with the hour, the angle, the season. Nothing living stays frozen in one position forever, and that can comfort us. If today feels heavy, it may not feel this way forever. If today feels confusing, clarity may be closer than you think. If today feels quiet, new music may already be on its way. Life has movement in it. Seasons turn, doors open, strength returns. Hearts heal. New chapters begin where old ones once seemed final. Now these petals are carrying more brilliance, and I'm reminded that beauty is often a collaboration between something that is and what it touches. The flower has its form, yeah, but the sunlight reveals another dimension. Human beings are similar. We carry gifts, but the environments we choose matter too. Spend time with what nourishes you. Spend time with people who call forth your best. Spend time in places that restore your spirit. Spend time with ideas that expand your mind. Spend time doing work that keeps your heart awake. Light matters. Now I continue these final touches, and there is a joy in completion, and it's beginning to appear, isn't it? Not because everything is perfect, but because enough love has been given to it in the process. Enough care, enough patience, enough presence. And that is how meaningful things are finished. Not flawlessly, but faithfully. A relationship grows through faithfulness. A craft grows through faithfulness. A strong character grows through faithfulness. A beautiful life grows through faithfulness. Perfection is often overrated. Faithfulness changes worlds. So as the flower grows brighter with every passing stroke, let this encourage you. Keep showing up for what matters. Keep placing small lights where you can. Keep trusting the process when it feels too slow. Keep honoring the gifts that are inside of you. Because one day you may look back and realize that what felt like little touches were creating radiance all along. And let's look at highlights from another angle completely, which is celebration. There are times in life when people become so focused on the next problem, the next task, the next mountain to climb, that they forget to celebrate what has already been gained. But these bright touches on these petals feel like celebration to me. They are the moments where the painting pauses and says, "Wow, look how far we've come." And that is important. Celebrate the discipline that got you here. Celebrate the healing no one else saw. Celebrate the courage it took to begin again. Celebrate the days you kept going when motivation was gone. Celebrate the wisdom you carry now that once had to be learned through difficulty. You do not need a crowd to honor your progress. Some victories are private. Some milestones are invisible. Some breakthroughs happen quietly in the heart. They still deserve gratitude. Now, as the brightest yellow lands on these petals, I'm reminded that joy grows when it is acknowledged. Many people rush past blessings because they are already chasing the next thing. But the person who stops to appreciate the present often discovers abundance already around them. A roof overhead, food on the table, a chance to create, a lesson learned, a friend who cares, another sunrise. These things become the gold in the hands of gratitude. There is another truth in celebration. It gives strength for what comes next. Rested hearts run farther. Encouraged minds think clearer. Thankfully, people endure differently. Celebration is not laziness. It is renewal. So if there's something good in your life today, honor it. If there is progress, notice it. If there is beauty, enjoy it. There is peace in receiving it. There's laughter in joining it. The flower does not apologize for being bright, and you do not need to apologize for moments of joy either. There are seasons when your work happens in private. Long hours no one sees. Efforts no one applauds. Practice with no audience. Quiet growth with no recognition attached to it. Those seasons are real, and they matter deeply. But sometimes a season arrives when what was built in private begins to show in the public. And that is what these bright touches feel like. The discipline becomes visible. The craft becomes visible. The healing becomes visible. The confidence becomes visible, and the maturity becomes visible. Not because it appeared overnight, but because it has finally reached the surface. Many people envy visible success while knowing nothing about the invisible preparation. They see the bloom, not the roots. They see the performance, not the years of repetition. They see the calm presence, not the battles once fought within. So never compare yourself to behind-the-scenes seasons, to someone else's highlighted moment. You may be witnessing their harvest while standing in your own planting season. Both have dignity, and both have purpose, don't they? Now, as the light lands more boldly across these petals, I think about readiness. When preparation meets opportunity, people call it luck, but often it is simply readiness wearing a bright coat. The musician practiced before the stage. The athlete trained before the spotlight. The artist painted before the audience arrived. The wise soul learned before the moment of testing came. Be ready for your moments. Use the quiet days well. Use the ordinary hours well. Use the unnoticed season well. Because when the light moves across your life, you will have something real for it to reveal. And one more thing about visibility. Let what becomes visible be true. It is better to be genuinely growing than merely appearing impressive. It is better to carry substance than to chase an image. It is better to become radiant from within than to borrow shine from the outside. The most lasting light is honest light. And now, my friends, we come to the close of this journey. The brush grows quieter and the colors have found their place. And the sunflower stands before us as not just a painting, but it has become a story, a reminder, a small field of light on the canvas. We began in the browns, where roots are formed and unseen strength is built. We moved through the oranges, where warmth returned and courage began to rise. We entered the golden dawn, where gentle progress taught us about patience. We stepped into radiant gold, where joy found its voice. We touched the petals with sunlight, where small highlights awakened wonder. And we honored the green, where growth continues long after the bloom. And until next time, my friends, keep painting.